Hello everyone, my name is Korosh Erfani. I am the writer of the book Infinitylogy with the subtitle Foundations of a New Discipline. You can find this book on our website, thecrdi.com, and the book also is available on Amazon for your order. Now, we started to make a lecture of this book and providing some more description and explanation regarding the content of the book. And we did for the first part until the part 10, the foreword of the book, the introduction, and also one part of the chapter 1, which was dedicated dedicated to the matter, right? And now we will keep going with the second part of the second section of the chapter 1. It's called On the Universe. The first assertion that we have in this part is this one. It said that the universe is a part of existence. So we have a classification of almost everything, and this is the next part that we will go through. And the existence is the most general concept that we can have in order to, include everything, to encompass everything. So the universe, including, is a part of existence. The universe is the perceptible part of existence. And when we say perceptible, we mean perceptible to humans, right? To the human beings. So the part that we can perceive effectively through our sensory, through our ability, to understand, to see, to measure, and so on, from the existence is called the universe, right? So existence is larger, it's bigger, but there is one part that we can perceive, right? We can apprehend by our sensorial abilities, and we call that universe, right? When we are talking about the universe, we are talking about this. So how it is made, what it is made of, the third assertion of this part says that the universe is made of matter perceptible to humans. So when we have the ability to perceive the matter, right, we are dealing with what we call universe. So the universe is nothing but the part of the perceptible matter, and the perceptible matter is a part of existence. So this is how, if you imagine a pyramid, in which in a pyramidal structure, you have effectively existence, and then matter, and then universe. And the universe is that part of matter that is perceptible to us, and the matter is the part of the existence. So this is how it's organized, how this pyramid is structured. And then we have some sub-assertion regarding the last one that was saying that the universe is made of matter perceptible to humans. These are the sub-assertion. Human perception is our only standard of understanding everything. So when we are talking about this perception, we are talking about something that we can perceive through the things that are objectively measurable, objectively verifiable, right? So this is how we understand the reality. We see, we observe, we hear, we taste, we touch, and then based on the information that we are getting the raw data that we are getting by our sensory, we can effectively start to manipulate it, to measure it, to change it, and so on and so on. So that's why if we want to have a standard regarding how we can understand everything, is our perception. If it's perceptible, it means that we can understand it. So that's why the theory of infinitism and this discipline of infinitology put aside any idea of understanding of something beyond the perception, which means that anything that is from the category of for example imagination or speculation, the things like that, it could be important for some people, but here for the infinitism and for the discipline infinitology, we don't care of that, right? We don't care of imagination, we don't care of speculation, only and only perception. When something is perceptible, it's understandable, and we can work on that. So that's why we present it as you saw in the sub-assertion, the first sub-assertion, as our only standard, which means that this is the unique standard that we are using to understand the universe, to understand everything. What it is? Human perception, what we can perceive. If there is something that we cannot perceive, we cannot suppose or presuppose its existence, like for example the God or the metaphysical forces or energy or the things like that. These are effectively something beyond the perception, something out of our perception. And what is objective for us, at least in this construction, is only and only what is perceptible and nothing else. That's the main point. But we are not, too much proud of ourselves because of perception. Why? Because we know that if we are treating the infinity, if we are treating the different kinds of matter, different aspects of matter, and we know that the number of these sorts and kinds and categories of matter and beyond is infinite, so we should be very naive to think that we can perceive all of them. No, there is no all of them, because it's infinite. It's going on. It's adding up, without any stopping point. So it's an ongoing process, and the human beings nor any other intelligent being can go along with that. So we should be humble enough to recognize the deficiency of our perception. So that's why we said in another sub-assertion here, however, we are aware that our understanding is deficient, right? So we know that we can get an understanding of everything through perception, but we know also that this perception is deficient. Deficient means that it's not perfect. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean that it's valueless. No. It means just that it's not perfect. It's not complete. It's always and always lacking some points. Why? Because there are infinite points. There is infinite number of points that we cannot take into consideration when it's a question of the perception or understanding of something. So that's why we need absolutely to recognize effectively the deficiency of our knowledge, the deficiency of our understanding of the universe. And from this point, when we start to doubt about our perception, we are ready to complete it. We are ready to improve it. But if we say that no, we can understand everything and our perception is perfect, there is no deficiency, which means that we are going to stagnate. This is what happens during the Dark Ages, right? Because there was a fake certitude about everything. The people, the church was completely sure about everything. So that's why during 1,000 years there was no really progress. There is no advancement. And we started to advance from the Renaissance, from the Enlightenment, and the basis of the Renaissance was effectively the starting to doubt about our certitude, about what we considered as sure. And from that moment, we could effectively move forward and create a lot, including new and modern science and technology. All right, now let's see the other perception. We said that awareness of this deficiency makes its damage and errors manageable, which means that awareness of this deficiency makes its damage and errors manageable. This means that when we recognize the presence of a deficiency, when we recognize that we are effectively and actually lacking some points, then we can know that our deficient knowledge could be useful for some aspects, but could also not be strong enough, powerful enough for some other aspects. So that's why we should be realistic about what we are able to do and what we are not. And if we want to get this capacity of knowing what is our real ability to act, to intervene in the universe, in the material world, we should recognize our deficiency, where what we know and what we ignore, what we are sure about that and what we are not. So this is the manageable character of our deficiency, right? And that's why this manageability is due to the recognition of our deficiency, and that's why we should be able to do so, and we should not be shameful about that, because this is a reality that the universe and the matter is infinite, with infinite complexity, and we are the finite human being. We have the infinite capacity, that's true, but the actual capacity that we have to take into consideration, to take into knowledge this infinite reality is effectively limited. So that's why we should be realistic in order to expand this capacity. So that's why in another sub assertion we said that the awareness of humans' deficient understanding should be objectively organized. So manageable, organizing, you see? So we know that we cannot know anything, that's true, but at the same time we know what we can know a lot. So in order to take into our knowledge arena the maximum possible, as much as possible of knowledge about the reality, about the universe, we should be able to organize that. And if we want to organize that, we need effectively this awareness regarding the human's deficient understanding of the universe, of the matter, and essentially of infinity. So that's why we need effectively recognition, we need organization, and we need management of this over ignorance over the universe. And look at how we are counting to do that. For example, we said that Infinitylogy will try to objectively organize the finite. It's a question of Infinitylogy, but here we are talking about organizing the finite knowledge human beings have of infinitude. So we know that as human beings with our more or less limited sensorial abilities, we can take into our knowledge into consideration, into analysis, one part or one portion of the infinite reality. And when we said one portion, it means a finite part of an infinite reality. But at the same time, we know that first, and then we can expand that, we can extend that, we can develop that. And in order to do so, we need to do it, with organization. And in order to organize this activity, this epistemological or philosophical or intellectual activity, we need a discipline. And that's why we suggest Infinitylogy, in order to, know how by our finite possibilities to understand an infinite reality, an infinite universe. So that's why from the beginning on working of this subject, we thought about the necessity of having a discipline. You remember I said that if we want to use this term, discipline, we means a formulated knowledge, right? An organized knowledge, like the chemistry, like the physics, like the astrology, for example, astrophysics. So all of these are the discipline. Why? Because the knowledge, the fundamental concept, principles, laws, rules, and everything is organized, right? And that's why we can use the term discipline. The same thing about the infinity. It should be organized. And in order to organize that, we need first to recognize our limitation, recognize our deficiency of knowledge regarding the infinity. And then we can see how we can reduce as much as possible this deficiency, right? This is how it happens. Now, the other sub-assertion says that the capacity of expansion of the finite knowledge human beings have of infinity is unlimited. Even though our capacity is limited, but what is unlimited is the capacity, the ability to expand, this capacity, which means that whatever is this capacity right now or at a given moment of the history, it's not freeze, it's not fixed, it's not stagnating. We can develop it, we can expand it, we can grow it, How? By a discipline that is working, on this subject in an organized manner, in an organized way. And from that moment, we are talking about something serious. We are talking about an undertaking, that is not an adventure. Because if you go through the history of philosophy, you see that there are many efforts, many attempts to formulate a philosophical theory that is not totally organized. These are, for example, some ideas about this or that. These are some concepts, some speculations, sometimes the imaginary part of just our intellectual production, all formulated as a philosophy, for example, or like a school of philosophy, and at most, like a philosophical theory, right? So this is what we did in Uh, in our book Infinitylogy, which is another book that you can find in our website, this is the first book that we published in English on Infinitylogy, and before that I published 2-volume books on this subject in the theory of Infinitylogy in Persian language. There's 2 huge volume of 1,000 pages, but that was just a philosophical theory like many others. But we know that we had already this kind of theory, and we had many of them, right? But why we are, despite having all of these theories, and some of them are really good, some of them are really functional, some of them are useful for us, why we are living still in a world with many challenges, many problems, and many issues? Why? When I started to work on the theory of Infinitylogy, the theory of Infinitylogy is the theory according to which everything is infinite or is not. So infinity is the determining concept of existence, with the details that we will be talking about in other production in the future. But you can go through the website infinitylogy.info, or you can read this book Infinitylogy, How to Make Infinity Your Philosophy for Life, right? That's the idea of this book on as a theory, as a philosophical theory regarding what's going on for the existence, the universe, the matter, the world, the society, and human beings. That's the general philosophy that we suggested to change something, and that's why the title of the book that we published in Persian language was effectively Infinitylogy, a theory for changing, a theory for change. Here you have the cover of the book in two volume regarding the Infinitylogy as a philosophical theory for change. Now, when we were working on this theory and when we presented it, we saw that it is strongly possible that this theory, like many others, will join as a book or some other productions, here and there in the library, and in the shelves of library, or I don't know, somewhere. But what's the efficiency of that? What's the effectiveness of suggesting a new philosophical theory? All right, everything is infinite, and based on that we can find the infinite resources, infinite resources of energy, infinite sources of energy and materials in the world. Imagine, we are all scared about the source of energy and matter that are going to finish, and we will have we are going to have a catastrophe, for example. And Infinitylogy comes to say that, don't worry about that, because if we know how to deal with infinity, we will have infinite source of energy and materials. All right, it's very beautiful idea, and we know that if it's true, we can build a new world up, right? But the question is how we can do that, because we were going to through this book Infinitylogy, and we saw that it's a question of a deficient knowledge that we have about the infinity. So now that's why at a given moment we thought, if we stop just by suggesting the theory of infinitism, the task is not complete. The mission is not complete. Why? Because the people will ask, all right, you said that we would be able to explore the infinite source of energy and material, but how? How we can do that? That's why we started to think about, we have also to show the way that it is possible. Not only to say that it's possible, but also to show that how technically it's possible. And from that moment, when we started to think how we can organize our knowledge, how we can manage our deficient knowledge about the infinity, we saw that it's necessary to make it, in an organized way. An organized way means discipline. And discipline was effectively infinitology, the knowledge of infinity, the technical knowledge of infinity. We can say, I never used this word, this is for the first time, but just for the sake of explanation, I am saying the science of infinity. Infinitology can be conceived like that, the science of infinity. If we can use this word, I use the word knowledge of infinity because it can go, beyond what we have as scientific methodology, for example. No, it's just to say that it's always and always possible to move forward and to go beyond what we are doing if and only if we recognize that we have serious deficiency in what we are thinking, how we are viewing the world, and how we are dealing with reality. If we dare putting the question on the perfection of what we are doing, and if we realize that it's not perfect, we are far from perfection, then we can try to get, some improvement, advancement, and this is what we are doing. So that's just to say you, if we double the charge of our mission by not only formulating the theory of infinitism, but also by establishing a new discipline, Infinitylogy, it's because they are so related. They are functionally related and they are completing each other. They are necessary to each other. Thank you for watching this video. In the next one, we will keep going the lecture of the book Infinitylogy, and we go through the subchapter that is called on the classification of matter, and we will see how the matter can be classified in the different categories. What's the usage of this? What are these categories? What's the usage of these categories, and how we can objectively, make the category and subcategories of matter. Thank you very much for watching this video. I invite you to go through our website. There are 3 websites that you can use: infinitylogy.com about this discipline, infinitism.info about the theory, the philosophical theory of infinitism, and the website of the Center for Research and Development of Infinitylogy called the crdi.com. Thank you and see you in the next video. Bye.